So, welcome to lecture 7, classes and objects. So, in the last class we had seen a program, right, multiplication of two complex numbers, right, using class and objects. So, there we had a keyword called static, right. So, what is the difference between static variable and the ordinary variable, right. So, when I am talking about ordinary variable, it is limited to certain scope, right, so which is well defined. Whereas, when I am talking about the scope of a static variable, right, so that extends throughout the program. We will see with an example, right, so that you can understand in a better way. So, here you go, right. So, for example, here I have, let us say, a function, right. So, it is a simple program, right. So, here you have a C program, alright. So, int main, I take it as a C, you can change it to C++ also, not a problem. So, int main, right. So, here you have a function, right. So, int function, right, whose return type is integer. So, int count is equal to 0, which is not very difficult, count equal to 0, and then line number 12 I am using count plus plus, alright, and then I have return count. I take an example of a procedural oriented language C, alright. So, you can just put C out, when you put C out, that is all, that is called C++. Now, I am calling the function, right. When I am calling the function, you can tell me what will happen, alright. So, function when I call, so count is 0, count plus plus, so I can expect the output what, 1, good. So, you will get the output 1, alright, and next again I am calling, alright, the new line, again I am calling the function. So, what will happen, it goes count 0, count plus plus, count is 0, count plus plus, return count, alright, 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. So, I have to get 2 1s as output, right. So, I have to get 2 1s as output. So, you can see that, right. So, I will get 2 1s as output. Okay. So, what I will do, shall I change this variable, right, with static? We will see what will happen, right. So, when I change this to static, so let us see what is happening. Yes, same program I have put static, so that you can understand, right, those who are learning first time about static variable, this program will give you an idea. So, now as usual I am calling the function. So, first one count 0, count plus plus. So, now count is 1, alright. So, here I am writing count is 1, right, count plus plus, count is, so return count. So, it will return 1, alright. So, now when I use this variable, right, static variable, the keyword static, now my count is 1, that is why I separately wrote, last time I did not write anything, alright. So, now my count is 1. So, again when I am calling the function in line number 5, alright, in line number 5 when I am again calling this function static int, right, your count is 1, count plus plus. So, now you will get the output 2, alright. So, this is the output I can expect, return count. So, this is the output I can expect, alright. So, you can see that when I run this code, I can get the output like this. So, this is the difference between a simple variable and static variable. So, this program, these two programs will be useful to understand what is the meaning of the keyword static. So, if you look at the last class, we have used the keyword called static. Now, you understand, based on these two programs you can understand. So, without static variable, right, line number 11, if I do not use static, I am getting output as 1 1. If I use static, right, so count will be considered as 1 before going to line number 5, right, and then when it is calling the function again, the count plus plus 1 plus 1 is becoming 2, and here we are getting the output 1 and 2, right. So, this is how the static variable is being defined. So, now the same complex number problem, right, the multiplication of two complex number problem. So, let us consider using, we will write a program on Java, alright. So, here you go. So, these are all the utilities I am importing in Java. Now, I create almost the same, the syntax is almost same, few things here and there will be a change. So, class complex, you have double real and double imaginary, alright. You have two member data or data member, and then set values the same like what we had seen in C++, set values, and here the multiplication, right. So, here you can't have the reference operator. In Java you can't have the reference operator and star operator, alright. When I define complex C1, alright. So, C1 is an object, so I can print the identity hash map, right. So, suppose I print, let us say system.out.print and C1, I will get the identity hash map, right. Whereas, in the case of C++, you have to slightly use the address operator, slightly change the syntax I mean to say. So, you will have the address operator. So, here complex C1 and here you have complex C2, and you are having the result which is an object whose class is complex, right. So, dynamically allocating a memory using new operator, and this we are going to study, right. This syntax you please note, this is nothing but the constructor, alright. So, line number 22, you are dynamically allocating memory for result, dynamic memory allocation, complex result, you put new operator. So, dynamically allocate the memory, and you have complex followed by the function notation, you call it as constructor, right. So, now as usual multiplication of two complex numbers, what we had seen in C++, the same syntax you are writing and return result, right. So, few things are changing. So, here we are not using the address operator, line number 21, whereas we have used, if you recall, we use the address operator, alright, and complex result. So, here you go, this is right the new syntax in Java, right. So, few things here and there will be a change, and then display, right, the void display same member function, here call it as method, right, the same member function what we have used in C++. So, here it will be the method, and the method will give you the real plus I into imaginary, alright, and then I go to the main program, alright. So, main program, so it is a driver class, the driver class is main because you have the main almost like in C++, right, int main. So, here the syntax is static, you know the meaning of statics, void main. So, this we will see slightly later, right, string arguments, string of arguments, alright. So, now this function, this inbuilt one is for taking the input from the user, alright. So, this is the syntax that you are writing, that means you are going to take some input from the user. In fact, line number 47 and 48, we are taking the input from the user for this. So, this inbuilt statement is required in line number 39. Let us create two objects, right, let us instantiate two objects C1 and C2, C1 whose class is complex, and then here we use a new operator, right, and then you use a constructor, and then another object. So, dynamically you are allocating memory for C1 and C2, that is the meaning, okay. So, now enter your real and imaginary, right, enter your real and imaginary or the first complex number. So, that you are taking the input from the user, this is what you use, the scanner, right. So, it is like a scanner for scene, right, sc dot next double, next int, that means the integer data type, next double. So, this function, the inbuilt function using your object sc under the class scanner, right. So, here you go, your inbuilt, right, this sc and scanner, they are all the inbuilt class, right. So, which is useful, this sc object is invoking next double function, next double method, inbuilt method. So, that means whatever the user is entering will be stored in real one. Similarly, next line, line number 48, right, this sc, the object is invoking the inbuilt method next double, it will be assigned to imaginary one, right. So, you are taking the input from the user, and then here C1 is invoking set values exactly like what we had studied in C++. Okay. So, real one you are passing imaginary one. So, assume that it is 2.0 plus 3.0 I, something like that. So, real one is 2.0 and imaginary one is 3.0. Similarly, the second, alright, let us say 4 plus 5 I, 4.0 plus 5.0 I. So, real 2 4.0 and imaginary 2, right, 5.0. So, take the input from the user and set values. So, then the result method, right, the result object whose class is complex, alright. So, here you have, so here the complex is invoking, right, the class complex. So, which is invoking the multiply method, alright. So, multiply method is being invoked here, you are passing C1 and C2 as the arguments, exactly like what we have studied in C++, almost similar, alright. So, the complex, so it is more or less that it is like as if you have created some objects. So, that object is invoking multiply. So, this syntax is also valid, or you create some complex, let us say C3, alright. So, the C3 will invoke the multiply, that is also possible, alright, or otherwise simply you put the class name of the class dot multiply C1 comma C2, alright. So, then the resultant will be stored in result, that is the meaning. Then result of the multiplication, so result dot display will show result dot real and result dot imaginary, right, and then sc dot close will close the file, because you are taking the input using sc and then you do sc dot close, right. This object is invoking the close, it is a kind of file closing, right. So, now when I run the code I assume that even if you put 2 3, it is assumed that you put 2.0 and 3.0, 4.0 and 5.0 same input we will give, and you can see the result of multiplication you will get this is the output. Okay. So, how to create a class, right, and how can you define a class and how to create objects, right, all these we have studied with the help of C++ as well as a Java program. Also now you are familiar with the static keyword, right. So, we will see one more case study, right, one more problem. So, write a C++ program to add two distances where feet and inches are given, right. So, you are given a feet, let us say 9 and 7, alright, another one is 8 and 6, right. So, these is feet and these are all inches. So, if you are given these feet and inches, I want the output of addition, right. So, 12 inches is 1 feet. So, 7 plus 6 13, that means 1 feet will be added, 1 plus 8 is 9, 9 plus 9 is 18. So, this I have to get the output and 1 inch, right. When I am adding these two I have to get the output 18 feet and 1 inch, right. So, this how do you do with the help of object oriented programming, you can think of. So, how do you think? You can create a class distance and then you have to include feet and inches as the object, and then you have to think of, right, getter and setter values, display values, right, and then the main program you have to write addition of two distances, alright. So, this we will see. So, let us consider I have a class distance, alright. So, include IOStream because I am going to use C in C out. So, therefore, using namespace std. So, class distance, the name of the class is distance, I am using feet and inches, alright, I am using feet and inches. So, here I have set values int f and int I, int f and int I. So, feet is equal to f. So, whatever you are taking the input that is being passed, it will be stored as feet and inches under that particular object. So, feet is equal to f and inches is equal to I, alright. So, now here you can see I have add name of the function, alright, name of the member function, and I have an object D whose class is distance and the return type is also distance, and here I have distance result. So, that means I will have two, right, I need two distances, alright. So, for example, D1 plus D2 which I will store in D3, resultant distance. So, now I can use here, right, without two arguments. In the last program, in the multiplication of two complex numbers, we use two arguments. So, can you write it in one argument? Yes, you can do that. What it will do, one object will invoke this add function, alright. You will have like this D1 dot add and then you are passing D2, alright. You will call similar to this. So, that means here you have inches, simply inches, you are not having D1 dot inches, simply inches, and similarly simply feet. So, this will be taken care, that is nothing but D1 dot inches, D1 dot feet, alright. So, one object's inches will be added with another object's inches, alright. So, for example, I have 9786, right. So, first what I will do, I will add the inches. So, here I will add 7 plus 6, what will happen, 13, alright. So, here I have to use some logic, when it is going beyond 12, alright, I have to increment my feet, alright. So, that we will do that. So, inches you are adding first. So, we are getting result dot inches is right now 13, assume that, right. Then what I will do, I will add the feet, 9 plus 8, feet plus D dot feet, the object that you are going to invoke. So, that is going to be your 9 and rest is your passing 8, alright. So, 9 plus 8, correct. So, you will have how much, 17, and then so here you have result dot inches integer division 12. So, 13 by 12 integer division, what it is, 1, alright. So, 1 will be added, feet plus D1 dot feet and result dot inches slash 12 divided by 12, 13 by 12 integer division 1. So, 17 plus 1. So, right now it will be 18, and then what you have to do, you have to do mod, right. So, 13 mod 12, 13 mod 12 is what, 1, your result dot inches will be 1, right, your result dot inches will be 1, 13 mod 12. So, 17 plus 1, 18, 13 mod 12 is 1. So, this will be my resultant for this test cases, this test case, okay. So, this you are returning as result, this you are returning as a result. So, void display you put feet and inches, void display you put feet and inches. So, let us see, because it is a slightly different code what we have studied in the case of addition or multiplication of two complex numbers, alright. So, here we will see how we are going to use this syntax in the main program. So, you create three objects, one is two distances D1 plus D1 plus D2, put it in result, right. So, basically I want like this, result equal to D1 plus D2, all are objects. So, D1 dot inches, D1 dot feet, D1 dot feet, D1 dot inches, D2 dot feet and D2 dot inches. So, resultant you will get result dot feet and result dot inches, okay. And then you have set of variables, right, feet, inches, feet 1, inches 1, feet 2 and inches 2, okay. So, now you are entering feet 1 and inches 1. So, assume that I entered 9 and 8, alright, I entered 9 and 8. So, you are setting the values feet 1, inches 1, that means D1 is invoking set value, right. So, the set value member function, here you go, feet and inches will be set, okay, feet is equal to f and inches is equal to I. So, 9 and 8 whatever, right. So, 9 and 8, and second one I am giving 8 and 6, alright. So, you are entering your feet 2, is 8 and inches 2 is 6, feet 2 and inches 2. So, you are setting the values. So, this will be set. So, this is for D1 and this is for D2 because D2 is invoking here, alright. Set values will be called. So, D2 dot feet is 8 and D2 dot inches is 6. So, now this is what the syntax I wrote if you recall, right. So, D1 dot add D2, exactly I wrote this, right. So, D1 dot add D2, you are putting whatever be the result, you are putting as the result, that is the object, right. So, result object is under class distance. Okay. So, now what is happening, D1 is invoking the member function add by passing D2, right. So, that means you are passing what, 8 and 6, you are passing 8 and 6. So, when I am passing 8 and 6, right. So, here your D dot inches is what, 8, right, inches, feet and 6, right, D dot inches is 6, 8 and 6. So, here I changed 9 8 and 8 6, right. What about my simple inches? I do not have any object dot inches, right. So, which is nothing but this inches 8. So, that means here what is happening, 8 plus 6 will be added, right. So, here it is nothing but 8 plus 6 will be added. So, when 8 and 6 is being added, it is 14, right. This is what exactly happening, 8 and 6 is nothing but 14, right. D1 is invoking, you may ask the question how this D1 dot inches is going, right. So, D1 is invoking, since D1 is invoking, so here the simple inches plus D dot inches we know it is 8, inches is 6, right. So, 8 plus 6 is being added and it is nothing but 14. Now, you add feet, right. So, feet is nothing but 9 and 8. So, 9 and 8 will be added along with result dot inches slash 12. So, here I have 14, 14 slash 12 is 1, right. So, 9 plus 8 17, 17 plus 1 18, 18 feet I got, still inches I have not got, right. So, inches is nothing but 14 mod 12, 14 mod 12 is what, 2, right. So, that means 18 feet 2 inches I will get as the output, right. When I am adding this 18 and 2, 14 mod 12 is, right, this is what we are telling, 14 mod 12 is line number 22. You look at line number 22, 14 mod 12 is 2. So, we will get 2 as the output. So, totally you will have 18 feet and 2 inches as the output, alright. So, this we are displaying, result dot display we are doing, alright. So, let us see what are the test cases. Test cases assume that, yeah, I give another test case, 15 9, 15 feet 9 inches, 18 feet and 7 inches. When you add this, right. So, 9 plus 7 I will get 16, 15 plus 18 I will get 33. So, 33 plus 1 will be added, 16 mod 12 will, which will be 4, 16 slash 12 is 1. So, 33 plus 1 I will get 34, 16 mod 12 I will get 4. So, 34 feet and 4 inches I have to get as a output. So, if you look at, alright. So, I am getting exactly the whatever the expected output, we are getting this as the output, 34 feet and 4 inches. I hope it is clear, this problem is clear. Can we write the same program in Java, right. So, almost same. So, let us try. So, earlier what you can do, you try to write it in both C++ and Java, and then later at one point of time we will stick only C++. Okay. So, here you have a class distance feet and inches, and here you have a member function, same member function what we have studied in C++, what we have seen in C++, set values, right. So, similar, right. So, whatever we have done, same thing you are doing. Distance is a return type, alright. So, return type is an object distance, add distance d, alright. So, d is an object, you have a distance. So, returning object is possible. These two programs, whatever program that we get saying in C++ as well as in Java, the return, can you return the object, right. So, these two programs are telling yes, you can return the objects. And here you go, you have a result object whose class is distance, dynamically you are creating a memory space with the new operator, and distance is nothing but the constructor. So, rest is similar, you are adding inches plus d inches, d dot inches, whatever we have studied in C++. Similarly, feet plus d dot feet, and then result dot inches slash 12 integer division. So, whatever be the resultant you are putting over here, result dot feet. Similarly, result dot inches is equal to result dot inches mod 12, the remainder, return a result, right. So, almost the similar syntax. So, only here line number 20 there is a change, right. So, dynamically you are creating a object. And void display. So, display you are displaying feet and inches. So, this is also similar. And then if you look at the class, you are not putting any semicolon, the class ends in line number 32. And here you go, I may use certain input, therefore, I have an object SC under the inbuilt scanner, inbuilt class scanner, alright. Your program starts here, the class main you call it as driver class, alright. You have a main program starts from here. So, you are creating 3 objects, alright. So, D1 and D2, alright, dynamically creating a object, and the third one is for result, right. So, D1 D2 new operator constructor, D2 new operator constructor, and then you have result, alright. So, feet 1, alright. So, feet 1 is taking the input, whatever input you are giving or input that you are getting from the user, that will be stored in feet 1 line number 45. And similarly, whatever the input you are getting from the user, you are storing in inches 1, right. So, feet 1 and inches 1, that is your first object, right. First objects feet 1 and inches or feet and inches simply. So, feet 1 and inches will be set, right. So, the object D1 is invoking set values member function, alright. So, feet 1 and inches 1 whatever you are passing, alright. So, that will be set for D1 dot feet and D1 dot inches, right. So, this is what exactly will happen. If you look at line number 14 and 15, D1 dot feet and D1 dot inches will be set. Similarly, for the object D2, right. So, you are creating an object D2, it will be set, whatever feet 2 you are taking as an input from the user, whatever inches 2 you are taking an input from the user. So, D2 dot set values feet 2 comma inches 2, alright. So, now D1 is invoking add D2. So, same if I do 9 8 for D1 and D2 if I have 8 6, right. So, D1 the object D1 which is invoking D2. So, that means I am passing 8 and 6, 8 feet and 6 inches is being passed. This is what exactly happening over here, right. So, D dot inches, what is D dot inches? 6, right. So, D dot inches will be added with inches. What is that inches? So, that will be passed when the object D1 is invoking add. So, that means the inches is nothing but 8, right, in the function member function, or you call it as a method. So, in the method you call line number 21 you have inches. So, that 8, right. So, 8 plus 6 which is nothing but 14, right. So, here you go, you have 14 and feet you are doing feet plus d dot feet. So, your feet is nothing but 9 and d2 dot feet is nothing but 8, there it is d dot feet. So, 9 plus 8 will be added which is 17, plus you have some more statement result dot inches slash 12. So, 14 slash 12 is 1, alright. So, 1 will be added. So, here you have 18 and then 14 mod 12, 14 mod 12 is 2. So, that means 2, 18 inches, 18 feet 2 inches, right. So, this you are displaying. So, sum of the distance, result is invoking display and then you have close, alright. In SC is invoking close. So, when I give this as the input, right, 15.0, 9.0, 8.0 and 7.0. So, when I add 9 plus 7 is 16, right, 15 plus 8 is 23. So, 23 plus 1 24, this will be 4, 16 mod 12 is 4. So, 24 feet 4 inches I have to get this as the output, alright. So, let us see what you are going to get as output. So, you can see 24 feet and 4 inches, right. So, this we got as an output. So, the last 2 classes what we have done, how to define a class and how to create an object, and we have seen 2 case studies, alright, in C++ as well as Java, alright. So, now you can able to write a program. So, we have not seen the access modifiers like public private, soon we are going to see, and you have also used the static keyword in the last class, right. So, now you can able to write certain basic programs. So, take these 2 as an example and then try to work it out, many examples using many problems, right, using the concepts whatever you have studied so far, right. So, with this I am concluding today's class. Thank you so much.